Hello everyone, here we are at Andrea Fisher Fine Pottery in beautiful downtown Santa Fe, New Mexico. And again today we have a demonstration by one of our favorite potters, Wilma Baca Tosa from Jemez, Pueblo. Wilma has been making pots for many, many years, but what distinguishes her work so much is the fact that she does this incredible sgraffito work, and it'll be lots and lots and lots of fun to watch her do that. We will be having this demonstration for the next 4 hours, if Wilma holds up that long, and I'm sure you'll get an idea of how much work it takes for Wilma to execute these really beautiful, beautiful pieces. Well, without further ado, I would like to introduce Wilma and say welcome, Wilma. And
Thank you.
We're really happy to have you here. And best of luck with 4 hours of demonstrating. And I'm just so pleased. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Ms. Fisher. It's great to be here again.
Oh, I just wanted to add one small thing, that if you have any questions for Wilma, you can either telephone us at 505-986-1234. That's 505-986-1234. Or email us at info@andreafisherpottery.com, and we will have Wilma answer your questions here online. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing this wonderful demonstration.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon. My name's Wilma Baca Tosa. This is some of the work I do. One piece that I have here, it's graffito work. The lighter part of it is the clay, and the red is the slip. So I'll be showing you, I'm going to start off with mixing some of what I use, and it's all handmade and traditional clay and volcanic ash as a temper. So I'll be showing you how I do from the process from start to finish. Okay, good. Okay. This is the volcanic ash that we use as a temper. It's really fine, and this is how we get it in the mountains. It's clumped, and until we sift it, and this is the same thing that I'm going to use right now as I mix the clay. So this is volcanic ash, and this is my the clay that I'm going to use. We have two kinds of clay. This is from the south side of our village, and then we have one that's on the north side of the village. So the one I use is from the south side of our village. This is all kind of a darker color, and so I'm going to go ahead and start mixing some clay for you. And I do the same amount of temper. I'm going to use the same amount of clay. The clay has been, it comes in clumps also. So we've dried it, and then we kind of get it into little pieces to where I can work with it. It's easier to work with. Usually some, they put water on it first. So that's how they kind of started off with just the temper. and then a little bit of the clay already watered in. That's how they do it. But with me, I usually do them dry first, and then I'll add the water in and add water as I need it. So as I'm mixing it, I usually do this with prayers and good thoughts. It helps a lot, to how all the whole work of the pot is going to come out. So I usually do, I pray in my own as I'm mixing clay, so it'll turn out the way I want it to. And sometimes we do add, if we make it too watery or somewhat, we'll go add some of the when we sand the pottery, we save those too. So if you need them, you can use those as part of as a temper also. So there is a lot of process that goes into the whole thing, by collecting, by drying. So by drying the clay and the temper, because it comes in clumps, and it's usually there's moisture in there too. So, but once it dries, we can just get it into smaller pieces, and then we'll just sift it. So that's kind of easier to do. But the other one, we have to pound them down into small pieces. Then from there, we can work with them as we go along and get it to where we want to work with our clay. So there's a lot of other ways that other potters do their own clay and to work with them and how they want it in their own. Each family, I think, has a different perspective of how they want their clay to be. But you want your clay to be to where you can work with it, to where you want to, it'll be easier and smoother to work with. So it's just not just one little process like this. It's gonna take more to where I want this to be. If you have any questions, I can answer your questions as I'm working. But usually I don't do this small amounts of clay. I usually mix like a whole batch, like maybe 10 of each or 15. So when I'm done, it's like a big mixture that I have at the end. But I'll mix this slowly to where I get every bit of it. And as I go along, you can see how it comes off of my little tarp here, canvas. I use a canvas because it's easier to, instead of a cloth, the canvas dries and takes out the moisture more. So I use a canvas. It's easier to work with.
smells like it just rained.
Yes, it does. It smells good. Like when you go outside when it just rained, that's what it smells like. The sand along with the timber. It smells like that it had just rained.
It's very nice. How large are the batches you usually make?
They're like maybe about 10 times bigger than this. Wow. I'll have like a whole big batch if I do like 10, 12, or 15 each.
Wow.
So it's like 30 with both of them. So I'll do like a whole table with the canvas, and then I'll just put all of it, you know, whatever.
Right.
And then from there, it comes out pretty big.
Wow.
So this is 3 and 3 right here. It's 3 and 3. So I did 3 of the temper and 3 of the clay. So, and the way I usually like, I usually put it into a little, and then I'll see, you know, how it goes. If it's okay, if it's too watery, or yeah, I'll break it off. The consistency of if it's mixed, okay. But to me, this is good. I just, you know, but some, what they do, they'll put a little bit in their mouth, and you can, if it sticks up here, that means it has too much clay. But if it doesn't stick and you can bring it down,
it's good.
It's good. So this is good.
It's kind of like a peanut butter toast.
Yeah, yes, like a peanut butter toast. Yeah, so if it sticks up there, that means that there's too much clay in here. So then you just have to work with it from there. Usually, if I think it has too much temper, what I'll do is I'll mix some of the clay with water a little bit at a time, and I'll just add it in here.
I see.
Yeah, to get to the right consistency as I want it.
Totally.
Yes, so that's what I usually do. So when I'm done, I usually just pound it together and then just make it into a little thing, a little like a square or something. Then I'll just put it away for a while, you know, and then until I'm ready to work with it. But you can work with it right away. It's not, but this one's just right for me to work with it. Sometimes if I think it needs like a day, I'll know, you know, once I'm done with it, I'll know I'll need a day to at least get more moisture out of it. And then from there, I'll just work with it tomorrow.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's a nice loaf. Loaf of bread.
Huh?
It's like a bread loaf.
Oh, yes. It's just like a little, get it into a little square, and then we'll work with this. And then from here, I can do either a pinch pot, or from there I can do a coil. So some of the coil pots, the pinch pots, this is a pinch, and this is a pinch pot. So these two, I just do it as I go along. So we'll go ahead and make one here as we go along. Is there any questions that you want to ask, or?
Yeah, do you, most of the pieces I've seen from you, I think, are the larger ones.
Yes.
The coil-built pieces. When you're working with a big batch of clay, are you thinking ahead of time about which kind of pieces you're looking to make, or is it kind of just whatever moves you in the moment?
I'll go ahead and start a big pot with maybe about this much. You know, if I'm gonna do a coil, I'll go ahead and start here. But a pot builds itself. So every pot that I do, it's somewhat different than the last one that I did.
Right.
So this, if I'm gonna do a coil pot, I'll start from here with the little, as I go along, I'll go ahead and start, you know, building it as like a pinch. I'll pinch it first on the bottom, and then usually I'll have something to set it on to where I can start building up.
Right.
But
a little basket.
yes, a basket or yes. So as I go along, it's not built all in one day. A bigger pot usually takes about maybe like a good week, you know, for it drying as it goes along, or see how the consistency is as we go along.
Right.
You know, so it takes, you know, a couple of days or 3 days to build a big one, or maybe even a week.
Because you
It
can't
depends.
build it all at once, it's too soft.
Yes,
right? And
it's
it'll
too
fall.
soft, and
Yeah.
as I coil, you know, like everything else, it's heavy on the top, and it's just gonna go down if I build it all at once.
Right.
So usually I'll start from here and I'll build it from there. But usually like first I'll do a pinch like this, smooth it out, you know, get all the creases out as I go along.
Yes.
And he's gonna get more water. But as I go along, you know, I'll smooth it out as I go along. But from here, maybe I'll put something like this on it, or you know, that to set it down to where I can build from this on up. So
So it has a little support.
yes, a little support on the bottom.
Holding a baby.
Yeah.
Hold it by the head.
Yes. You don't want it to fall.
Yeah.
So from here, I'll just go and then just shape it on the bottom, maybe like this. And then from here, then the coils will start, and then start going up.
Right.
So this is like a coil pot that will happen like this.
That's great. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So this is how a coil big pot starts. A big coil pot would start. That's how I start my coils as we go along.
Wonderful.
But a smaller one, I usually take about this much. And this one, I'll really work it to where, try to get all the bubbles out and the air in the clay. So once I start doing this, do you want to show them?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's take a look at some of your work.
You can maybe show them some of the coil pots, and then some that
Right.
you would do as a.
So here
Okay.
are some pieces finished by Wilma that we have. You can see there's I think all of them, but maybe that little one is a pinch pot, but the other are all coils, no?
Yes, yes. So the little one is a coil, and these one would start as coils. These here would start as coil, and then if I want to add more, like I said, I will set it on something and then do a little bit of coil on top. So these ones are both, and this one too. I'll start it off as a pinch pot. Then from there, I can do coil on top.
Beautiful.
Yes. So this one's the longer process,
Right.
along with the other two. A couple of days, Usually I'll set the wedding vases first, half of it, and then I'll do the top, maybe a couple of days or a day after I'll do the top. So these are the pieces I have here. And then these ones, I made these recently. They're like for the office, you can put pins in there. Pens, you know how stick
keep you
pens,
organized,
just to
yeah.
keep you organized. But I don't know who would put pins in these, but I still did them. It's just an idea.
Special. You have to put really nice pens.
Yes.
In there.
So I did these and see, you know, how it would go, but they came out really nice. I like the way they came out with the fireplace, a Kiva fireplace in the back, and then the holes for the pins.
Yeah.
So, and then I like to display them with like a mirror, with the mirror on the bottom, and then on the top maybe, or on the sides, and then so you can just see the whole pot. Nobody will pick it up.
That's a good.
So yeah, so that's what I would recommend.
For all those of you listening at home,
yes.
with one of these, get yourself a couple mirrors.
So when I'm like for Indian market, I have all these mirrors that I set these on, so they can see them from the bottom up. So that's how I display, you know, during a show or in a show.
There's so much design work
Yes.
on each of these pots.
Yes.
It really does take a lot of.
So the lighter part of it is actually the clay. And then the red is a slip that is also almost like, it's clay. It's clay, but it's kind of more smoother, I think. And the texture is different. So that's what I paint on the pot. So the lighter part of it is the clay, and the darker one is what I stone polish on there. And then the designs come on. So whatever we take out is that's when the designs come out. So
Beautiful.
oh yeah, so that's the whole pot. It's all natural, handmade, and it's all stone polished. So
Wilma, can I ask
Yes.
a favor?
Yes.
Is there any chance that you could talk about this piece of pottery real quick on camera?
I need to,
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
let me wash my hands.
If you need anything, let us know, okay?
Okay,
Can I get you a paper towel or something?
yes.
We'll get you some fresh paper towels.
Okay. Come on, the kayate. I don't want to touch it with the clay. All right, thank you.
So, Wilma,
Yes.
a very kind couple, Roger and Anita, purchased this piece, and they were hoping that you could talk a little bit about the designs and you know what went into it and so on. So here you go.
Okay. Okay. This piece, it is a coil pot. A coil pot. And like I said, the lighter part of it is the clay. And then the red is the slip. The slip. The red is what I paint on. And it's just not one coat of paint. It's red. I mean, it's not just one set of, one time that I went over it. It's several, deck with the on the side. Now here, on the paintbrush. Get me a paintbrush. Benjamin. Okay, so this is the actual slip. So this is what I use to, after all this is done, It's all sand. It's all smoothed out. The bottom is set and the top. So these are all, I sanded all. And then the pot will look like this. The pot actually looks like this. And from here, I'll go ahead and start putting the slip on this. So the slip goes on and the pot, while it dries, I'll put several coats on it. So it's just not one coat, it's several coats on it. Then I'll start doing my polish. So as it dries, that's when it's stone polished. So from this, when it's stone polished, it'll be polished. The whole pot is polished. So from here, I'll start doing my designs. All the designs are hand designs. I don't do no stencils. I don't do, no straight. So from here, I'll do I have a sewing needle at the end here. So that's what I use to do my lines. So when this is all done, it'll just have lines on it and, all this stuff. So I use an X-Acto blade to bring out the design. So all this in between, I'll straight edge, is what we call it, straight edging. So I'll do all the straight edging, the rough parts of it. I'll do all the straight edging on the pots. So when it's done, I have help that takes out everything I need in here. So what we say is we're gonna take out, all the stuff that I don't need in there. So when that happens, then the designs come out. So when I'm doing the pot, I can see it. Like when I'm building the pot, I can see what's gonna go on here. It just automatically, I can see it. As I do my prayers and, sometimes I sing in my mind, the songs and stuff like that. So it helps me to create the whole pot. So this pot, this has the Kiva stairs on there. It has the directional designs on there. So half of it, and then it comes down. And then on this side, it also has the Kiva steps, but on all 4 directions. There's one on this side. So as you count 4, it's significant to us. It's north, west, south, and east. So that's significant to us every day, And then these are the directional design. So the whole pot, this connects the whole pot. Some call them stars because they actually see the stars inside. And then there's others that call them daisies. So I call them daisies. So there's flowers. There's 4 petals in this one right here. There's 4 petals. So either they're daisies or some of them call it stars. But as you can see, the stars connect the whole earth. And then the daisies, they all come together, So the whole pot, it comes together. So this is what the pot, this one has the designs on. It's the Kiva staircase, the Kiva stairs on there.
I really appreciate you telling us about that, Wilma.
We had a question regarding that when you made the coil and then you broke it, somebody was asking about what kind of consistency you're looking for.
When I broke it, that's the consistency I look for. When as I'm done with the clay, I usually break it so I know, and this is ready for me, that it's good. Yeah. But if it just bent like this, it's still breaking off. So, but when it just bends like this and I go like this and it's still like this, that means that there's too much clay in here. And, as you can imagine, where there's clay and there's too much sun, it's gonna crack. So that's what's gonna happen to my pot if I have too much clay in what I mixed.
So the solution would be to add some more of the...
I would add
timber.
some more of this,
Yeah.
or remember when I was telling you, when I sand it,
Oh, right.
I usually don't throw those away,
Right.
because if there's too much clay in here, then I can't add, and this has the clay and this, so it's another temper that I can use, and then to see if I can get it to where it'll break off like this for me.
Right. So the pots are constantly going back into each
Yes,
other. Yeah.
yes.
It's beautiful.
So that's what I do that for, to break off the clay after I mix it. So this, I just mixed this one. So that's what I was doing, to see how it is. But some, like I was telling him, they put it in their mouth. So if it has too much clay, if it sticks up on your mouth, so that means there's too much clay in there. It's not just gonna roll off. But if it rolls off, and then that means that you got it just right.
The slip also tastes good.
Yes, this slip. This comes in clumps too, the slip. This comes in, in there. This comes in clumps like this too, but you have to dissolve this in water. So this one, we get all of this from the mountains. These are all natural, it's all natural, everything here. So the temper, the clay, and that's the whole pot.
Temper is how you
Temper, this is what we call temper. This clay is too much, like how clay is, it's just smooth, and, like I said, it's gonna crack if there's too much clay. So if there's too much clay, it's gonna crack. This we use as a temper. It's volcanic ash, and it comes like this. It's volcanic ash. It comes in clumps. It's really easy to break, and it'll fly away. Like if I was working on it outside, I won't get that much because it's gonna fly away. Because it's so like ash. You know how ash is smooth and it'll just fly away? Well, this is volcanic ash, so that's what it does when you're working with it outside. But we I sift it. After I do this, I'll sift it to get it into more where I can work with it. So what I have here, I did three handfuls, and then I did 3 handfuls on my clay. So this is what this is. It came out this much amount of it. So usually I don't do this small amounts of it. I usually do like 15 of each. So that's 30 all the way around. So it's like big, my clay, when I'm done with it. So it takes a lot of I have to work on it and, get it all off of the canvas. So that's what I'll keep working on it until I'm good and ready, where I know that I have everything and everything that I need to do with this. And my last one is when I did the roll and then break it off, then I know I have it to the right consistency to where I want to work with it.
Will you explain how much of the process you were able to inherit from a forefather somehow, and how much of the process you've invented in terms of the outcome of the material, the designs you use?
Okay. From this process, my grandma used to get the volcanic ash, and we would work with the clay part of it, as to where we get it into small pieces, and then they would soak it in water until it comes out like this, till it's watery, the clay. So when that happens, you know how the clay will set on the bottom and the water on top. So she'll spill out some of the water, and then she'll take like a sift, and then she'll pour that mixture in there to clean it. So that's how they used to clean it a long time ago. So then she'll set it again for a couple of days until the water sets again on top. She'll spill that out again. And then what will happen is she'll have this with water. It's, like clay like this. So what will happen is she'll put the temper first, then she'll kind of take it and then put it on there. Then she'll start making it. But now I get it to where we can grind it, clean it, dry it, clean it, and then grind it. To where we can get it to where we can grind it ourselves. But back in the day, if you have to grind something, you have to do it by hand. Now we could just plug it in and just put it in there and it'll grind for us. You know, so I think it's kind of easier now than from way back before. And even with this, and then everything, all the materials that they used to get, they had to carry it down the mountain. So now we can drive up right to where it's at, and that's how we get it. But yet we still have to go to the process of cleaning it, you know, get it to where we need to get it. Because sometimes, like during the winter, the clay don't dry that fast. You know, it takes a lot to dry it. So because if you don't dry it and you put it in the grinder, it's going to stick. So you have to have it dry all the way. And then you have to clean it with all the roots and stuff that are in there. So it's still the same process, but just the process of now I use it dry instead of, you know, watered down. So that's the process of it. And then instead of painting my pots, I use the needles and the X-Acto blades to do my pottery. Back then, they did everything. They painted them, you know. So everybody would be sitting around the table. Like on my mom's side, there's 4 girls and 6 boys. But yet they helped their mom, my grandma, they helped her do all the pottery. And it just wasn't like 10 pots. It was like 30 of them sitting on the table. Each of them had a different color, putting it in, and somewhat doing the straight lines on them. So it took a whole process then, you know, as it does now. But mine is, I don't know if you can call it modern or...
Was there anybody before you who was doing the carving, the sgraffito work?
No, I don't think anybody was really doing any of the carving like this. But they did polishing. You know how some of the bottoms, a little bit on the bottom, they're polished, they're stone polished. That some of my grandmas were like that. They would polish them on the bottom, but they also had cooking pots, which they use volcanic rock or pumice rock, where they really pound it, mixed it in with this, and they used them as cooking pots. So my grandma had some pots that were black, you know, that were black. And they looked like black on black, but then they were painted. They were all, you know, handmade and everything. And they used them as cooking pots. So she had a lot of big cooking pots, little ones for the stove, for the fireplace, or outside. So she made her own cooking pots, which I guess I was too small then when she did those, but I never saw her do any cooking pots or how she made them. But my mom said they used to go on the east side of the village where there's black volcanic rocks over there. So that's when they went to go pick the rocks. So she remembers that much. Wow. But she never really paid attention, you know, to how to make those. And I'm all like, you know, I could have been doing that, you know.
Maybe you will yet.
Yes, if I can, you know, kind of, waterproof pots. And there's some that are, I always ask because there's some shards that have the glossy finish to them, and they're still on there, like so many years when they did them, but the gloss, you can still see it.
That's amazing.
You know, it's amazing how it's been stuck on. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's what amazes me. And I've asked, you know, like how they got that gloss.
Yeah.
So I don't
They
know.
must have polished it for days.
I think it's that. I don't know if they
interesting.
like kind of boil the sap or water it down, but if you see like different shards, broken
Okay.
pots, they still have that shine on them, and I don't know how they did that.
Maybe it's like the dene.
Yeah.
They use the pine.
Oh,
sap
maybe,
for the-
yeah, maybe they made them like that.
It's interesting. So
Yeah,
when you
it is.
started, were you painting your designs
Um,
before you started carving?
When I started, I tried the paint,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not really. I don't know. My
Yeah.
fingers weren't to that, but I can handle the blade really well. I can handle the blade. I mean, and the
The
needle really good.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
You're
used
like
to.
a surgeon.
Yes.
I think you could have been. Some people here flinched as I said that. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they're immaculate. The level of detail and the consistency of your line and hands over the piece is really amazing. Feeling these pieces in person, anyone who's had an opportunity to do so can attest to, how even the depth of all the carving is. And to me,
Yes.
that's one of the most remarkable technical features about these pieces is just how consistent your hand is at rendering these designs, and how delicately as well.
With this piece, this one's different. With this one, you can see the stars in here, but you can also see a flower. So it's kind of, this one
Perfect.
is still unique because without the daisies, they still have its own, like a flower you can see in there. You can see a star. You can see,
It kind of looks like a morning glory,
yes.
a little bit.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can see different,
To me.
shapes and stuff in there. And I love it because in different ways, when you turn it, you still see something different. After even if you had it for a year and you didn't think, that
Yeah.
it was on here. But all of this one, this has the feather design, eagles for good luck. It has a kiva fireplace in between here, and then the kiva steps on the side.
Yeah, and so this kind of, the way that the design, the kiva step design kind of goes around the
Oh, yeah.
shoulder and then down, is there a special significance to that?
The swirl is as like I was saying, like when I was doing one pot, way back when, I'm not sure, but when I started doing this swirl is when it just came to me, but how to start it is the tricky part.
Yeah.
Because both ends, they start at the same place on each side, and then the swirl goes around. But it's just something that I guess it came to me, so I tried it.
Yeah.
But it works perfectly.
It does. That's so beautiful.
It works perfectly. But this is the only one I have right now that's like that here.
Yeah.
But I have done wedding vases like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've
with
seen
all
some
the
of those.
sides on like that.
Would you be able to talk about
The wedding vase.
I'd love that, yeah.
The wedding vase is usually like the man takes the vase to the woman's house a day before their wedding, and what the two spouts means is a man and a woman, and this part is a part where it's significant because it connects both. It connects both of them. So this is the wedding vase that I have done. It has the daisies design on there, and then it has all the what would you call them, like mountains or
I've heard some people describe it as like mesa,
mesa mountains.
spiral mesa.
Yes. So and then it has the daisy designs on them. Also the its significances are the kiva is a place where we all connect as a whole within our Pueblo, to where we can go, we see each other, we dance, we pray. So the Kiva fireplace is what I guess we connect from. It's what, we're told. So there's the Kiva fireplace on this one, and on this side has the Kiva steps on there. It also has the eagle feathers on here and the directional designs on there, along with inside the Kiva steps.
Yeah.
So this is the wedding vase that we have.
It's a beautiful piece. And you fired this one just a bit earlier this week?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. And when you're firing outdoors, is that right? Or
no.
do you fire in the...
I haven't fired outdoor yet.
Okay.
I really want to. I saw my grandmother. She fired her pottery outside, but I never really got to learn how much wood
Right.
or when to fire because she fired her stuff before she painted them. So everything was fired before the paint.
I see.
Everything was fired when they were still at this stage.
Oh, okay.
So after the firing is when they put the paint on.
I see.
But some, they'll get to this stage, they'll paint it, all the paints are natural,
Right.
so they'll stay.
When they get fired,
Yes.
right.
So when they get fired, all the whole pottery's already done.
Right.
But there's some that will fire them and then they'll put the design.
Right.
So there's different ways of how people work with their pottery.
Yes.
So all of mine are done before the firing.
Okay. Beautiful.
So I do a kiln fire, and so everything is done before firing, because once it's fired, it's hard
To work
to
into
work
it.
with the pot.
Right.
And the whole, the red is all hard.
Right.
Yeah, so it's harder to work with it then.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Nice. So you brought a couple pieces that you're working on.
Yes.
We have two smaller works, which are, you said, pinched, right? And then larger wedding vase that you've already sanded and slipped, or you're starting to slip.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one's ready to be polished.
Oh, wonderful.
So when this is polished, the whole thing will be red.
Right.
So it's, the way I usually, go ahead and do a wedding vase is I'll take maybe like a paper towel and to hold it. Because if I hold it and it's wet, the slip comes off. So I'll put several paints on this one. So this is done with several paint. It's just not one.
Right.
It's like,
Because you really want to get it into the surface,
Yes.
right? So when you polish it, you're
because
Putting
it
it
dries
all
fast too, So see how it's drying? So I'll put like several paint on it. But if I'm gonna do the whole pot, it's gonna be like this red.
yeah.
And usually I like to start them on the bottom. Because then I'll work my way up instead of
So Wilma, how many coats do you put on?
I usually do about 8 or 10.
And how long does it take to dry between each coat?
It depends how my paint is. The slip, I usually go like this to see how many drops I get. If there's more drops than maybe like 5 or 6, I'll do 10 coats. But if it's just the right consistency, I'll know maybe like 4 drops or 5. Then I know.
So depending on how...
Depends on how much water I put in it. So I'll do about 8.
I like all of the... I appreciate you sharing all of the sort of field tests that you do about the state of the different parts of
Yes.
the clay.
So with this, I'll usually I do a test on this one too. Okay, while it's drying, and then I'll just watch it as it dries, and then I'll go like this to see, you know, if it's too wet.
Yeah.
You'll see that it's too wet with your lips.
Oh, it'll.
So yeah, so I'll go like this, and then I'll know, because if it's too wet and I start polishing, and it comes off. So usually I'll start on the bottom, and as you can see, it's gonna start shining already.
Wow.
And with this, I didn't put that much paint on, so it'll start shining right away. And so it's a whole thing. I have to go all the way across without any stopping, because once I pick it up and go back on, and then whatever's left on here,
We'll scratch onto it, or no?
yeah,
Yeah.
take it off.
That's right.
Because if I put it back on, it takes off this paint that I already have.
Right.
So I'll go ahead and keep doing it, Even a small one like this, the waiting days, it'll take about 3 hours for me to polish, or 2.5.
Yeah.
Because I have to get it to where it's gonna start shining
And you're going over this many
and
times.
yes, not just once. So if I was doing the whole pot, I would be over here now, and then over here, and then I would turn it like this and start going up.
I see, yeah.
So this takes more than, and as it starts drying, you'll see the shine on it as it goes along.
Right.
So you can see the shine already.
Yes. Well, one of the things I love about when you see the pottery in person up close, you can kind of see the marks sometimes just like in the polish. And there's something
Yes.
so really beautiful.
Then I'll hold it a little bit more to where I can put more pressure on.
Right.
See, I was holding it like this.
But you can't press so
Yes,
much.
I
Yeah.
can't press on it. So now I'm holding it to me, and then I'm pressing more. See how that shine comes on?
Wow.
As I press more.
Oh,
We lost sound.
Oh my God.
Sorry. There you go.
Is that okay?
That'll
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Philip. Good looking out.
So I pressed more and then more on the rock as I polish. Some call it burnished, and some call it, I call it polished, stone polished.
It's already getting quite lustrous.
Yeah, you can already see the shine.
So after this step, what is the step you do? You start carving?
I'll let it dry.
Yes.
I'll let it dry for maybe like overnight. And then the next day, I'll just start doing or I'll set it where the sun is at for it to dry. Then I'll start working on it.
So when you carve, you get to the other color, to this color.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
start carving, you get to the first color.
Yeah, for the this color.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the clay. The lighter part of it is the clay. So then, when I start carving, that will start coming up as I go along. Even if I start carving right now on this one, you'll see it right away, the white part of it. Then, so as I go along, it starts to shine. Get that down.
And then I use this one too to finish it off. This one. So this one's I have several rocks. One's hand down, and the other one I bought it. So it looks like an egg. That's the one I bought. And this one that I'm using, it's a traditional hand down polishing rock that I have. And you can really see the shine now.
That's beautiful. It looks very satisfying too, to make that shine.
Yeah, and it's relaxing.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm working on my pots, sometimes, especially when I'm carving them, it's relaxing, and you just want to put it down and just sit there and fall asleep for a while. 30-second nap.
Meditation, right?
Yeah. So this is almost, you know, if I was doing the whole pot, it would look like this. The whole thing would be polished like this. So when you see a pot, it would be like this. So when I start carving it, that's when you'll see the white, the lines and stuff. So
amazing.
yeah, get it to like this, to where you can.
You can see yourself in it.
Yeah, you can see yourself in it.
Yeah.
Some do that though,
Yeah.
you know, they want to see themselves. Some call it, there's this one guy that says, I'm going to polish it. You know how your forehead gets all greasy and stuff? Then he'll go like this. It gets more though,
Really?
you know? Yeah.
Wow, so forehead grease is a little known
Any kind of
ingredient.
grease.
That's good to know.
Yeah, see?
Wow. Yeah. So with this piece, now that you've only slipped and polished a little bit of it, you can continue to apply the slip and continue to polish it from there without. Or would
If
you-
I'm gonna polish a pot, I do the whole thing.
I see.
I'll do the whole pot.
So would you sand this one off then and start over?
Yes, I'll sand it off. I'll
Okay.
sand it off when you know,
Yeah.
and then I'll do the whole process again,
I see.
and then I'll go ahead and do the whole pot instead of just one side.
Right.
So you sand it wet or dry?
No, when it's dry. When it's dry. This is a dry pot. So it still has you know, my fingers on my where I touched it. It still has that. And then when I sand it, it's gonna look like this. See, this side isn't sand, but the other side is sand. So that's what it'll look like, and fill. So I get to this part, I'll let it dry a bit, you know, but it's all shiny. You can see the lights on it. And from here, I'll start drawing. I'll start drawing my designs.
You don't get any reference?
Huh?
You don't get any reference when you do the drawing?
You can see the white.
Yeah, but you get some reference where you have to go, or
Oh.
you just go like this?
No, I'll do it all by hand, freehand,
Wow.
and then I'll just do it by eye. I'll do it by eye, but I need my glasses now. I used to have 20/20. I used to have 20/20 vision, but now I have to start using my glasses. But then I can just go ahead and just start drawing, and see how the lines. I'll get them to where I want them, and then from here I'll pinpoint what I want to do, and I'll just start drawing from here.
Hey, Wilma, we have a question from online, and the
Okay.
question is from Philip, and Philip would like to know, before sandpaper, what did you guys use for sanding the pieces? Was it pumice or?
I think it was pumice.
Okay,
Pumice, I think. And then they watered down a cloth. They would water down a cloth to smooth out the whole pot. Oh, screens. Yeah, screens.
okay.
Yeah. Like, you know how you screen doors?
Yeah, well, before that,
Yeah,
I mean,
before
obviously-
that, I'm probably sure it's like smoother rocks or the pumice.
Okay.
Because they have pumice in
Yeah.
Jemez.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, well, hopefully that answers Phil's question.
So this is what I did just now. So that's what I do.
All this and then you start.
Yeah, I do all freehand. And then from here, I'll use one of these. It's an X-Acto blade. It's like a craft blade. And from here, I'll go ahead and do the edges a little bit. Not that much, but this isn't even, sharp. I'll turn it around and I'll work on it from this side. And then I'll turn it around again. And then I'll work on it from here.
So when you're once the entire piece is done, once you polish the whole thing and you start carving, are you kind of starting at that and building out from there, or will you flip to the other side, go like from one side?
Yes,
You know what I mean?
I'll do one side first.
I see.
Then
And
I'll
then you'll
do
flip to the
I'll
other.
flip it and then I'll do this side.
I see.
Yes, so from here, I'll do all the straight edging, and usually I have my husband here take out what I don't need in here. All this will be gone.
Nice.
And then I'll show the design. So that's what happens, you know. I have him, once I do all of the whole pot, I'll go ahead and do all the straight edging, I'll design it, and then I'll have him take out what I don't need in there. So both of us are sitting there, I'm doing everything all to the whole pot, and then I'll just leave it there, and then he'll start on the pot and work on it with me. You know, so when we're done, the whole pot is. Yeah,
So
that's what he gets his patience from.
That's good.
Learned his patience.
It's a virtue to develop.
And he's not a very patient man. So with this, he has to be patient. So sometimes, like, it takes a whole day just to take out everything I need in there, because all the daisies that go on there, we're going to have to take out all those little insides of it. So when the pottery, the design will pop out. So this is a Kiva fireplace design. And so if I'm going to do daisies, this is like a whole, I turn it around one side. I'll do my daisies all the way. On the bigger pots, I have to be sitting down to do this because it's easier if you have it on the table. I do put my stuff, it's just not like this. I usually have like a towel and then a smoother cloth on top. Then I'll put my stuff on there. Yes, too. So this is one part of it, that one side of the daisies that I'm doing now, which is these kind of daisies right here. So I'm doing that, and then I'll turn it around. I'll do one side again for all of them, the whole pot,
Wow.
not just one side. And then I'll turn it around, and then I'll do the other side. So these are either stars or petals that I'm doing right now.
Do they feel more like petals or more like stars some days
Yes.
than others?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I'm done, the daisies will look like this. And then when I'm done with it, he'll take out all these little pieces inside here. So it's just not one part in here that has the daisies. It all comes out. The whole pot of it. The daisies will come out. I mean these little things.
The negatives, the little stars.
So that's what, see, the stars or the daisies. So that's the daisy part that
That's
happens.
beautiful. And so there's a little difference maybe, I think, in the color before and
Yeah,
after
the color,
firing.
because I really need to work on this. And then there's not that much coat on here.
I see.
Yes.
So you would do more
it
usually.
depends. It depends how many coats you put on.
Right.
And then there's sometimes, it's kind of weird because sometimes you think you got the whole pot just right, but then there's parts that are going to be lighter than the other.
Okay.
So it's,
Yeah.
and then when I fire it, that's when it stands out. You know,
Right.
I don't know if there was less slip on there or,
Right. It's easy to miss. while
yeah,
you're
it's
working.
easy to miss.
I see.
So in between here, I use these little ones. I use
Okay.
these little ones in between here. So my fingers are just, I guess, enough to where I can get in here and do the whole pot, the whole inside here.
Right.
But I have these little ones where I can do the ones on the sides and inside where the
For
dip
the
is.
negative spin.
Yeah. So that's how I do them, and then I'll turn it around and I'll do the
Do the,
the
inside of
handle on the inside. And then this is what I use too to do this inside. So I cut all my nails
Right.
because if I have longer, right now they're long now. So if I have it like this and I'm trying to do in here, and then it starts scratching. So I always have my nails shorter than what I have now too, even. So I do have to do my manicure and
Yeah,
stuff
there's a lot
before-
that goes into these
Yeah.
pots, people.
Cut off my nails before I start doing this.
So when you're finished with your carving, you polish again?
No,
That's it.
it's done.
Done.
Yes,
Okay.
the whole pot is done.
Okay.
Yes.
You just clean it.
Yes, I just clean it off. But as we go along, like I was taking some stuff out in here, we usually go like this. He'll be sitting there like this. Like this. You heard the lips, dry lips. The end of the day, he has dry lips because he's blowing off the stuff already, you know. So that gets all, but once I sweep the floor, I take it outside. I don't throw it in the trash because to me, it needs to go back out to the earth. You know, whatever I take out here,
Yeah.
I'll clean it off. I'll put it on a maybe like a newspaper or something. Then I'll take it out. I'll pray, and then I'll leave it back on the earth. Give it back to the earth what I didn't use, you know. So that's what I do with whatever I take out here. I take it back outside.
That's
So
wonderful.
that's one thing that I've never said to anybody, but now, you know. But I take it back out. I don't throw it in the trash or,
Yeah.
you know, I sweep it all up once we're done because the table will be full of the stuff that came out of here and then the floor. So once I'm done, I clean it up
Gather
and
it.
then I'll take it back out.
That's
So,
lovely.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
That's the polishing, the carving, and stuff. So that's what I do with, all the carving and stuff, and what I use. So
How long does it take to do one pot?
one pot. For the smaller ones, maybe I can do a couple or maybe at least 3 a day. It depends too how you feel in your heart and your mind. Because sometimes, some days, if you're not feeling it here or here, the pots don't come out the way you want them to. Then I'll just leave it, or I'll do this. I'll just put it back and I'll put it away until I feel I'm ready to do it again. Maybe the afternoon or maybe in the evening, I'll feel, I can feel it, when I, to sit down and do this, it has to come from you, how you feel in your mind and your soul and your heart. But if you're not feeling it, the pottery don't come out. The pottery don't come out the way you think, or it'll just keep, one side will be all thin, or it doesn't feel right. So it all comes from here. Yeah. So sometimes you don't feel it, and I'll just put it down and I'll wait, So any more questions?
Any questions?
Any questions online?
Yeah. Let's see.
But I do have several polishing rocks. And like I had said earlier, I got this handed down. These are river rocks, which I'm happy that I have, because then I can work on wedding vases. I don't know how other people polish inside, but this is what I use to polish inside. These were, they found them in the river. I think my husband found one, and my brothers, they have given me, rocks. This one, this is still shiny. Either somebody bought it or they gave it to me. And then this one's also a river rock. So these were given to me. This one I bought myself, but as I went along, it doesn't really look like an egg anymore. It has sides that I've used it so much. It's slowly shaping itself now, but it was a perfect egg shape. So, but then this was just right for me, because I can, my hands are small and I can just go, but some have rocks like this that they use, but I like this. And then I like this because I finish off with this often, the last one. I'll start with this and I'll finish with this, because this has the shine to it, and then I can hold it a lot better. But these are the rocks that I do use, and I've had them for a long time.
Would you maybe show how the sanding goes for the smaller pots, or how you?
Make one?
Sure, yeah.
I can do
If you'd like.
yes, I will. I'll do a pinch pot. It's easier. I can do both, but
Whatever you like, yeah.
yeah. So a pinch pot, I usually start off with a smaller amount, and it depends if I want to do one that's a little bit bigger than this one. So this is going to be bigger. See the size of the clay and what I have in my hand, and this one. So what I usually do, I'll kind of get it together more to where I know that I can put it, and then I'll usually get it into like a cone shape. Ano ba choy sala ba choy tata? And then I'll just go ahead and just kind of just smooth it out with the water. And from here, I'll go ahead and put my thumb in there, and then I'll start from here. The motion that I do on the outside is the same motion I press on this one also at the same time.
Okay.
So as it goes along, it's going to start shaping itself. And then from there, I'll just go along with the shape, you know.
Right.
And then I'll even at the end, I'll know, like, if I want to do a closed pot like this is going to be a seed pot. This is a seed pot. Long time ago, they used to put seeds in here to store them. So this is a seed pot. And then when they're ready to go to plant, this is what they took the seeds out of. This one's an open pot. It's still a little bit whole, but this is kind of a traditional pot that I think everybody used to do. And then if it was a cooking pot, the opening would be a little bit more open. So that would be, that's a traditional small pot.
So these seed pots are almost kind of the shape of your hands, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're holding it for
Yes.
a long time in the pot, through the pot.
And as I go along, I'll do the creases inside. I think I started this off a little bit, dry. And let me just grab something here.
Yep.
I use these gores as I go along. I use the gores that are broken. I go ahead and use them, and then I'll just smooth the pot as I go along. So try to get all the cracks that are in there.
Are these those little gourds that you see growing on the ground?
Yes, or the rattles.
Yeah,
If there's a rattle that breaks,
That's what you'll use?
yeah, that's what I'll use. So as I go along, I'll fix it as I go along.
Right.
It's easier to fix it as you go along than wait for it at the end.
Right.
And then sometimes when there's not that much moisture in the clay, then it'll start cracking. And then I'll fill it as I go along to where I can fill the pot where it's kind of like a little thin. Or if it's too thick, then I'll kind of like scrape it off with my gore.
Right.
But as I go along, I'll do my pinching, and then I'll fix my pot as I go along. But then the shape, I'll start working on it.
At what point do you start thinking about what surface decorations you're going to be using?
As I'm building the pot, I can see it in my mind. When I'm building my pot, like right now,
Starting to look
I can see the finished product of it. It's I don't know.
Do you ever change your mind?
No,
No,
because it's already set.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of already set, and then I'll be excited. I'll be excited for it to dry, for me to sand it and polish it, because I already see the design on there. It's there, and I don't have to sit there and think about what I'm gonna put.
And are you waiting for it to be bisque? Was there carving into it also?
I carve before I fire it.
Gotcha. And then it's bisque, and then you
What do you mean by bisque? The shine?
fire, just
Oh.
square, fire.
Oh, okay. I fire it once, but it's when the whole pot is finished. That's when I fire it.
Okay.
I don't fire before, because once I start doing my carving, I need to do it while it's still, yes, it's still like in this kind of stage like this. Then from there I can all the designs are on there. I've already straight edged everything, and to the point where I'm done with the pot, then I'll fire it. We'll fire a batch. So, see there? When I get here, then I kind of start going inside like this. Then I'll know that this is the end of it, or I'm closing it. But if I need to add a little bit more on top of here, then I'll just take a little bit again, and then I'll just put it around with a little coil on top. But for this one, I'll just...
So does the kind of final form of the pot come to you once its shape is there, or is it as soon as you pull it out of the clay?
As it's shaping, as it's shaping, I'll see, but I won't put the bottom, how it's going to sit, until I'm done with the pot.
Right.
So
we have a question from the internet, and
Okay.
they are wondering, how do you space out your design so that it comes out super even at the end?
all my spacing is done by eye point. I don't do no stencils. I don't do no. It's all freehand. It's by eye and how my hand moves. I guess it just comes out just the same length and the width and.
Yeah, Aaron is just off camera confirming it is magic. And profound talents as well. Yeah, yes, exactly. We have the lovely magician's assistant over here. Just off camera. And what was, how old were you when you made your first pot?
About 5.
Wow.
I used to do a lot of canoes, or we used to do a lot of turkey ashtrays. We would make a pot, even if it's like square on the bottom, as you're a kid, you don't still have that to where you can, how to do the bottom like this. Perfect, So our pots came out square on the bottom. So when we would sit it down, we would put a turkey head right here, a turkey head, and then my grandma would go ahead and push it down like this, to where you can set your cigarette. So we called them turkey ashtrays. We did a lot of canoes like that too, with 4 edges on each side, or 2, and then then you can put your cigarette there.
You can have like 4 going at a time.
Or with the horno ovens like that.
Wow.
You know how the horno ovens have the where the smoke comes out? So we would do horno oven ashtrays. Wow. And we would poke a hole here, do an opening, and then put a little thing where you can rest your cigarette and the smoke would come out. See, so those are the things we did when we were kids.
That's so
And we would sell them, we call them the Red Rocks, where they sell like food now.
Yeah.
So that's where my grandma used to take our stuff.
Wow.
And sold them for $2, $3. It wasn't.
I bet there are still some out there now.
There probably still is.
Yeah.
My aunt has several at her house.
Wow.
She has them in the case along with my grandma's stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'd love
so
to see a picture of that sometime.
I'll bring a picture. She has pots in there.
I love those little, those kind of tourist items. I think they're very sweet.
And then they used to do those fluorescent colors.
Oh, okay.
Remember the
like
green,
poster
the
paint.
blue? Yeah. Yeah, those kind of colors. So my family would sit there. One would be doing the green, the other one would be doing blue and yellow or pink. It would be all just those kind of colors, bright colors.
So bright.
And then they would outline them with black paint, and they really stood out.
Wow.
There's several still out there.
Cool.
So
Have to keep an eye out.
at the end, I can either do one more on top, and it'll be a coil. So I will put a coil on top of here, and then I'll work the whole pot in, and then I'll finish off here. This is going to be the finish. And then I'll just pinch it again to where you can see that on top, the top coil is flat. It's flat, and I already worked the clay in to where to connect inside with the other one. So I'll just smooth that out now, and then I'll smooth out the outer part of it, and then I'll leave this that thick, so that's the end of the pot.
Okay.
So right now I'll just connect outside.
And when these are drying, when it's warm out, do you put these outside in the sun, or is it too fast?
It's too fast. Not when I'm just done with it. I'll leave it inside a couple of days.
Yeah.
Until when it starts to dry.
Right.
Then I'll put them outside or by the door.
Yeah.
You know, where the sunlight. I mean the heat is coming in.
Right, but the light is.
Yes, I'll just put it by the door, and then when it's really dry like this, it's this white, then I'll put it outside.
Okay.
Then I know the sun.
safe to-
Yeah, it's safe, and then that's when I know that it'll dry more inside too.
And it's when you're firing the piece, it needs to be like bone dry, right?
Yes,
Otherwise, it'll break.
it'll maybe pop.
Pop.
There's one time I got clay from, I don't know if it was Taos or Santa Clara, but it had mica in it.
Mm-hmm.
I did the whole pot. I mixed it. It had a lot of mica in it. It was just glittery.
Yeah.
And I liked it, you know? The whole pot, it came out like that. And it was just shiny and glittery. It had mica in it. But when I think it was too thick. I think
So it didn't dry all the way.
yeah, and the whole pot, it broke the whole thing into little pieces. I was like, oh my God, you know, like.
Did you use any of those pieces to make some?
I still have them. I
you
haven't.
still have them?
Yeah, there was one guy that was telling me, he's a potter too.
Okay.
You know, from Jemez. He was telling me, grind it and put it in your pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't done it yet. So I need to do that and see.
I look forward to seeing
But yeah, the
a
finish of
micacious,
it.
yeah, Tosa.
But we'll see. But there was a teacher that brought me the clay. She's Santa Clara. She's from Taos, I think, and then her husband's from Santa Clara.
Okay.
So she brought me some clay like that, and I did it. She said use it, see what happens.
Yeah.
You know. So I did, but it popped.
Yeah.
The whole pot it broke. I think I think it was too thick.
Right.
To me, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I bet you're, And when you're digging, like over the years that you've been working, do you notice that the red slip sometimes the color will be a little different depending
Yes.
on where you're digging?
I think it depends on where. Yeah,
Or how-
exactly.
yeah.
Sometimes it's darker than
Right.
I think, and sometimes it's a little lighter. Then I like, do I need to? What do I need to do? To make it a little bit darker.
Yeah.
But okay, it's the pinch pot.
Beautiful. So now we're just gonna wait here for a couple days.
Yeah, a couple of days, and then we'll be right back. We'll be back.
Be back after a couple days. Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful.
So that's the pot, the whole pot, that all the mixing and the clay. So that's a pinch pot with a little bit on the end. I did one coil.
Yeah.
So, but if I was doing a whole coil, it'll probably turn out about this big. This whole clump,
Okay.
maybe about this big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the sanding part or stuff like that, and then the polished. Fast. And let me just get some paper and just for you guys to feel of the sanding. Usually I'll just sit there and sand all day if I can. But this takes a lot too. I'll do one piece with the more coarse. Then I won't dig in. I'll just do like one over the whole pot. Try to so all the sides will look the same and the whole pot, to where I know that it's all even.
Right.
Try to get it even. So, and this is a smaller one, so it doesn't take that much. But usually for the bigger ones, I usually set them on here, then I'll start working on them. But this I can hold easily. And then I'll just do the top.
And you were saying you save this powder too, the that's coming off.
Oh yes, I save it. It almost looks like this, the clay,
Right.
but that one's a little lighter.
It's like a half and half.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of these both of these. So I save it if I need to add it in here for any reason. I'll sift it a little bit and then I'll add it in. So I have quite a few,
Yeah.
but So I'll even the whole pot with this one sandpaper, and then maybe I'll use another sandpaper to go over it, a smoother one. Usually I have the next course one. This one's 100. I think this one's like a 60.
Okay.
So they're all,
They get finer
yeah,
and
they
finer.
get finer as they get higher. So I'll use the next one. I'll use the next one. But I'll turn it different ways too, because right here, I need to get that one more smooth too. So I'll turn it and then I'll just work on the line, the top across
Right.
to get that one. Because if it's, it has an edge to it, once you start polishing, the edge, it'll come out, it'll come out, the polish will come out.
Right.
Once I get it here, you can see the color is different. This one's a little bit darker than this one's a little bit lighter. So the colors are different. And then from here, I'll take another sandpaper, which is finer, which is this. It's a knit.
Oh, okay.
So this is the end of the whole. I'll finish off with this one, and you'll just get the smoothness in here. How it's smooth, and I can work the edges. See, even on the bottom, it's kind of getting
Yeah,
a little bit rounder.
Yeah.
And
And then how do you ensure that the bottom is flat so that when it's sitting on the table?
yes, on the bottom, after I'm done with the smoothing out with this last one, then I'll take one of these, a longer one. I'll take a longer one. I'll do the top first. I usually, it's usually to where I can tell how the lip of it is. And then I'll just do the top first.
So Wilma, we have another question from the internet.
Okay.
If wall sanding a pit happens, I know that you could sand it a bit, but if the pit is still there, does the slip help at all with any of the irregularities, or what do you do with it?
I try to work all those off when I'm building the pot.
Okay.
To where that's where I start using the gores. Okay, that's where I'll start using the gores and try to do all the little pits inside. So I don't, when you're sanding it, you don't know if the whole pot is consistent on the thickness of the pot. It's all the way around it, if it's good or not. So I usually fix it while I'm going along, while I'm working on, while I make this coil pot or any pot. I try to smooth it out as I go along. So that's when these come in handy. So all this is done. So I smooth it out and see what I'm doing now. I'm smoothing it out. I'm seeing if there's any creases that I need to work on before the pot starts drying. So I don't have to really sand it that much. So because some pots you do put holes in them while you're sanding them. And there's plenty that I've done like that, you know. And then the whole pot is gone because you sand it through, especially on the bottom. So I usually work out all of them out while I'm building the pot. Because the slip is only so much thickness in it. The slip only has so much thickness. I don't think it would, if there's a pit in your pot, it would fill it up.
Right. It would dip still.
Yeah, it'll still dip. And that happens too when there's an air bubble. If there's an air bubble in your pot. Like here, when I'm doing this, and there's a air bubble in here. Thank you. And when I start polishing, if there's an air bubble in here, you'll see the dip in there.
Right.
Yeah, so I can't hide it. So this is when I usually do the, I'll see inside, and then I'll just work on it and see how straight it is, or so on top it'll be like this after, and then I'll do the bottom.
So you're also rotating it as
Yes,
you're drawing
as
it
I
across
go.
to
Yeah,
ensure that it's
so
totally even.
yeah. See, when I look at it, there's one side that's still a little bit wibbly. So what I do is I'll work on it again a little bit.
Wonderful.
Then once I'm satisfied with it, I'll smooth out the edges again on this side, on the top, on the bottom and the top. So this is the pot that I'm gonna.
Oh, beautiful.
There's a rock in here.
Oh.
See?
Oh, yeah.
See?
I see it,
Yeah. So I'll
You
just.
gotta get the guy out.
Yeah, because the polish will come off if there's rocks in there. After sifting it and everything, I don't know how they still get rocks.
They don't want to go.
Yeah, they don't want to leave it, I guess. Okay. So that's
So
what
smooth.
yeah. So that's what I'll do there.
And so the next step for this one is to slip.
Yes.
Paint the slip on.
So the next step will be the slip. So from here, I do it. Go ahead and do the slip. I'll do one. I'll do one.
One coat.
And then I usually do one when I start. Like after I'm done with sanding and everything, straighten it out, straightening the whole pot, then I'll do one slip. I'll let that dry completely.
Yeah. Before continuing.
Yes.
So that it gets all the way. You
Yes.
absorb.
So one day, how many ever pots I have, I'll sand them.
Yeah.
Then I'll get them ready. I'll do all the sanding. I'll do the bottom. I'll do the top. I'll straighten it out, and then I'll just leave them for the day. Once I put the slip on, I'll leave them for the day. And then I'll just let it dry.
Yeah, let it do its thing.
Yes.
Hey, Stout.
Wants to see. Just to check me out.
Yeah. Wow, that looks so good. Having tried the slip, I'm like, that pot looks delicious.
It smells delicious
Yeah,
too.
it does. Yeah.
So that's where I'll get it to. And then I'll just let it dry.
Yeah.
Then after I dry the whole pot, it's going to look like this. When the whole pot dries, it's
Yeah.
going to look like this. So,
And is that kind of how many times have you slipped that one?
just once.
Just the one time?
Yeah,
Okay.
just the
I
one
see.
time right here. And on this side, this was several.
Right.
This was several of them. So,
That's beautiful.
it's still wet. No, this one.
Oh, we've got a question here. Wilma.
Okay.
Hey,
Hi.
so this is really, really cool. I'm curious how you keep your hands steady when you're doing all the carvings, and if you guys have any if you draw it with paper, like with a pencil first, or how does that
Oh, no.
how does that work? It's all very
I do all
intricate.
all my designs are freehand. I showed them earlier, I just took my my blade here. It's a X-Acto blade, but it has a sewing needle at the end. So the sewing needle, I just go ahead and I just make my points by the side of my eye. I just eyeball it, and then with my hands, I'll just go down. But as you can see, I'm moving the pot too, as well as my hand, and I kept this steady. See, it's consistent with this other line. So everything's done freehand. And if I turn it, if I want to put these lines, I'll eyeball it from here to here, and I'll see where the center is. And then from there, I'll start with my designs and my lines.
Can you undo it if you mess up?
No.
That's what I've been really wondering. I see how intricate these are.
So if I do make a mistake, that's a whole new different design than what I had in mind.
I see. You have to improvise.
Yes, I have to improvise then. So I try not to make a mistake, but it's hard. You do make mistakes. Then from here to here, I'll do the center again, and then I'll center it, and then I'll just put another line there. So these two squares are, to where I want them to be. And then from here, I'll just make my designs, what I need to do. If I'm going to do like a feather design, I'll eyeball the whole thing. I'll put all my designs on here. And then I'll use this. This is an X-Acto blade. I'll do my straight edging. But I don't pencil anything in. Usually when people paint, they usually do the pencil marks. They do it with a pencil, put their designs, but I never used a pencil.
No rulers or measuring or anything.
No.
It's so impressive.
It almost seems like you use the pot as kind of a drawing instrument.
Yes.
Turning it.
Yeah, turning it different ways. And then from here, I'll finish off with something. And like I was telling them, as we take these out, he'll sit there, my husband, and he'll blow on the pot too. Like when he's taking these out, he'll sit there like this to blow off the little particles that we took out of the pot.
This would just burn right back in. Do you burn it after this?
I fire it after. Yeah, after the whole pot is done, I'll fire it. So when the feathers are done, see, I'll look like this.
So cool.
Yeah, so when the feathers are done, they'll be like this. This is a kiva fireplace that I did earlier, and then these are the daisies, the ones you see on the side of the pots. Yeah, so these are the daisies, the kiva fireplace, and then I did the feathers now. So that's what I do. It's all by eyesight and.
So surgical.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me earlier. You know, could have made a good doctor. Shucks. But everything's done like this. Like I was telling, if I need to do smaller lines, I'll just go in and I'll just, kind of go by this one, I guess, and then just go all the way around, go down all the way with the same length all the way down. So it's all by just my hand and my sight. Yeah, yes.
And for these different designs, have you been doing all of them for kind of the same amount of time? Or have you started doing some designs more?
Some are new, and mostly the kiva fireplaces is what I like using.
Yeah.
Because, like I said earlier, that's significant to us because that's where we all gather as a whole, as a whole people, and that's where we sing, we dance, we pray, and it's like a togetherness. One pot is a whole, and the whole daisies and all the designs, they come together with just that one, all those designs in there. So. And I was saying earlier, as I mix my clay or make my pot, there's prayers in there that come along with the pot, And there's sometimes like when all the time I'm building a pot, I can see the design already in there. So I know what's going to go on there or how the pot's going to turn out or how it's going to be or the designs and how they're going to go on there. So I see it when I'm building the pot. I just made this one. It's a pinch pot. So I was working on that one. And then I have several that I had made. This is a pot that is not sand. Nothing's done to it yet. It's just made and it was dried. This is a pot that I had sand. And then I put the slip on. This is the red slip I use. So everything you see here is what this whole pot is made of, all those. And the lighter part of it is the clay. The lighter part of it is the clay. And then the whole finished off with the stone. I stone polished my whole pot. So this is the slip that I use. It's red slip. This is volcanic ash we use as a temper, and this is the clay that I use. So when I mixed this earlier, I took 3 of the volcanic ash with my hands, and then 3 of the clay. So that's 3 and 3. But usually, I was telling them I usually do like 15 each, so it comes out big. Yeah. So I usually do, 12 to 15 of it, or 10.
And do you
10
mix
to
all
10.
that by hand?
I do mix all this by hand.
That's really hard.
Yes. But it does have like earlier I was explaining that this is how we get this. It's in clumps. It's in a mountain, the side of a mountain. It's volcanic ash, and we use it as a temper. But it's easy to break off.
Yeah.
It's easy to break off. It's just like if you build a fire and you see the ashes in there, that's how it feels like. It doesn't even feel like sand. It's just smooth. So this is how it comes. And then we break it off. I'll sift it, and then this is what I get. So I don't do it on windy days because it blows. It blows. You see? Yeah. Yes.
So
And
does the temper like keep it from breaking? Is
the
that what temper
yes,
is for?
yes. Because the clay, as you can like, you know how it shows like sometimes there's like a pond, it dries off, you can see the clay in there, it's cracked.
Yeah.
So that's what, if there's too much clay in your mixture, the pot's gonna crack. That's what it does. It cracks. So the temper helps it just to get to the right consistency of it. So that's when I mixed the clay earlier, I took a piece of it when I was done. So the way I tell my consistency is I break it off. I'll break it off, and I know it's just right. Because if it had too much clay in it, it's not gonna bend like that. It'll bend like this, like all together still. You know, that's how it would bend. So that tells me there's too much clay in there. So I'll either put a little bit of more temper in it, or we usually use the sand pot that we get out of. I save these. So because if that's not coming out right, I can put this back in, because this has both. So I can put it back in until I know that I can work with it. Yes, yes. Yes. So that's what and then there's some that put it in their mouth. And if it sticks to the root of your mouth and it doesn't come off, then it means you have too much clay. Yeah. So, but then when it comes off easily, that means it's just right. Yes. Yes. Or even he was saying peanut butter. You know how peanut butter sticks? That's how it would feel like. But that's how some people do it. But I do the breaking off. Yeah. But it does taste good though. You know when it rains and you go outside, the smell, that's how it smells like. Yeah, the clay. It smells like that. The rain, you can just
Don't mind me asking, you said when you are working, it feels like it's a prayer full time?
yes.
When you're building?
Yeah, I'm building it.
Is it connected in theme and story? Or maybe you're thinking about the same things or thinking about different things? How does your
I think your soul and your mind have to be in it, you know, when you're working on it. Because there's some days that I don't feel, you know, one or the other, and the pot is not coming out right at all, you know. So I'll put it down. Yeah, I'll put it down for a while. Maybe that evening or the next day I'll pick it back up, and then it'll be okay. Then I'll just start making it, you know.
Pick up the same
Yes.
clay that you were working on.
Yes. Yes. So, and then even when I'm designing it, like I said, when I'm making the pot, I can see, you know, designs or if, you know, what I'm going to put on there. And then I also was telling them it's relaxing, you know, when I'm doing this, carving and designing, it's relaxing. Yeah.
How long are you relaxed?
Yes.
Making something like this? How long does that take?
That takes like from this to a pot like that. Maybe it depends how quickly it dries, or you know, I dry it slowly, because if I put it in the sun right now, if the sun's too hot, it's gonna crack. So I kind of leave it inside and just let it sit for a couple of days, 3 days, then I'll kind of push it to the door, put it by the door, and leave it there for a bit. And then while it's at this stage where I think, it's white like this or light brown, I'll take it outside, and then the sun can just hit on it. Then, yeah.
So you're saying, this is probably a stupid question, you don't put these in fire, just if these are sun dried or just dried?
Yeah, they're just dried and air dried. But yeah, they're kiln fired.
Okay.
Yeah, after the whole pot is done, they're kiln fired. So the lighter part of the pot right now is the clay. It's this.
Yes.
And then the red is the slip.
Is the slip.
Yes. So even you can see on this pot, the lighter part of it is the clay, and this is the slip.
Yes.
So once I start putting designs on them, then you can see the clay already. So that's what keeps my lines. I know where everything's at.
How old were you when you made your very first piece?
The first piece I was telling them I was at about maybe age 5, 6. Yeah, we used to do. We used no. I sold it. we used to make turkey ashtrays, horno ovens, and horno ovens like where you bake oven bread. We used to make those, and you know how they have holes on top where the smoke comes out? So we made it into an ashtray. We would make the whole horno oven with the little thing set right here to where you can put your cigarette in, and the smoke will be coming out of here. See, yeah, those are the things that we used to, little canoes. We never used canoes around here, but they were easy to make. They were easy to make. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So if you see a pot like these are called seed pots with the small opening, seed pots. Yes. Long time ago, they used to put seeds in here. Like if they're going to plant next year, so they would store their seeds and, seed pots. So when it's time, you could just shake them out. Yes. So the opening ones are pots. There's some that are bigger, they're cooking pots, or, there's some that are water pots. So there's different pueblos that are known to do like waterproof pots. So, yeah. I'm not sure.
They're not really waterproof. When they were used for sort of utility, it was just understood that the pieces would have to be rebuilt or replaced pretty often. There are certain clays, especially like very, I don't know what the word would be, but for example, from Okeowinge, Clarence Cruz will use this cooking clay, basically, which holds itself together really, really well, even when water and different things. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But they do break down because they're not glazed. There's no sort of glassification.
Are there kind of wax that's put on anything? Do they use wax at any time?
I don't think so because,
Yeah, no. In some cases, I don't know for you. Some of the artists will use some animal fat sometimes to put it in a polishing process.
Yeah.
The Dene people will use pine. Everyone has their kind of own little thing they do. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes. You're welcome. Thank you for coming in. I'm from Jemez, Pueblo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's about an hour and a half drive.
So
Yes.
we can see your work here.
Yes. Yes. They're all right here, what I have here.
We'd be happy to print. I could print something off with her.
Yes.
No, it would just be nice to have your name, so we know that we spoke with you and can think about.
If you want to just very, very gently. That was a good time.
I'm not going
So hey, we're back with Wilma, and how was lunch?
It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
So what are you going to work on now?
We're gonna go ahead. I want to polish this. I want to polish this small one that I have. It's dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and polish this.
Okay, that sounds good. How long has it? You just made that one this morning, right?
No, I made this one this morning.
Okay.
And then I sanded this. I worked on it. Then I can polish it now.
Okay. And so, do you need your polishing stones that are over here?
Oh yes. Oh no, those are Carlos.
Oh, okay.
I have mine here. All of mine. Hold on. Let me get a brush.
And what is your favorite polishing stone?
My favorite one is the one I have here. Well, I have a couple of them. This one's hand down polishing rock. It's been in for generations, I guess. And then see how it's worn off some places, but I still like using this one. This is an egg shape, which I'll start off the polish with. This egg shaped one, I'll start with this, and then I'll finish with this one.
Okay. So, and how many times do you polish the pieces?
I polish it once, but I'll put a couple of coats on it, maybe like 8 coats on it. Let me get my brush ready. Usually I'll see how the consistency of my slip is, and I'll go like this. So this is like 4 drops. I'll put in a little bit more water in this. I usually want 5. Okay, that's just right, because if the slip is too thick, then the polish tends to crack also. So that's why I do go ahead and count when the drops. So I usually do about 5 or 6 drops. And then I'm gonna go ahead and sit down.
Yeah, make yourself comfortable, Wilma.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
Go ahead and start the polishing. I usually do about 8 full. So I'll count as I go along.
What's your favorite part about making pots, Wilma?
My favorite part is, I guess, making it more from the beginning of it, because the sense of it and the whole pot, making it and then coming it together, making it come together. So.
Okay. And also, I have a question from online. This is from Philip, and he wants to know, are there any traditional duties that are restricted to men or the women? In other words, is one family in Famous only allows the men to dig the clay, not the women? Are there any restrictions that are like that?
I don't think there's any restrictions on that, because sometimes he'll dig it out and we'll put it in buckets And then, like I said earlier, it's easier to get it now than it was before because they had to climb the mountain, put it in sacks, and bring them down on their shoulders. And not just one time did they go up. They went up several times, got it, and came down. To now where we can at least just drive up, and then we can, it's packed, and we just put it in the truck.
Okay,
or
yeah,
the
that
vehicle.
helps a lot.
Yes, that helps a lot. So that's what is different, I guess. But other than that, I think, because even sometimes the ladies, they team up and they go get, their clay or the temper is sometimes when the ladies, do that together. So.
And where do you find this red slip that you're putting on right now?
This one is found in the mountains east of us, because there's a lot of red mesas on that side. So there's at least maybe a few spots that has this red slip or paint or clay, because it's like consistency the same as clay, and the texture of it, it does feel like clay. So I think it's red clay, but we just water it down to where we use it as to polish.
And is the red the only color that you work with?
I work with the red. There's different people that work with different slips. I'm not sure because I don't know where those are at. And then there's others that do the white one, the white slip. That comes out like a little brownish color when you fire it. So there's some that work with the white. They stone polish it.
So I have another question from the internet, which is, does Wilma make her own slip? And if so, can she talk about that process? And where does she get her clay and her slip from?
These are all coming from the mountains. It comes out, like I said, like a clay kind of texture, even the slip. So this is, I think, harder to get because some they have to crawl in and get it and dig it out from the mountain. So I don't think it's like that much there where you can just go and take it out or pick it up. We have two kinds of clay. One's on the south side and one's on the north. On the north side, it's on a hill and it's a little bit where they've dug in and you have to go in and get it. Which on the south side, which I use, you can walk up to it and dig it out from the top. So that was easier to get. So I just think it's which clay you want to use. But the denser one is up on the north side. That's more harder to work with than the one on the south side as a clay. But we do have red mesas to where this slip comes from. There's no really all you just dissolve it in water, and not just for like 1 hour or so. Usually I do it overnight, soak it overnight, and then it'll be ready to go for me to clean it and take the slip out. But it does come as like in like even like this in clumps. The red comes. The red slip comes in chunks also. It's not powdery or anything.
Okay. So how many coats have you done now on that pot?
This one's the fourth one.
Okay. And what's your least favorite part about making pots?
I'm not sure if I have a least favorite part. Maybe the cleaning up.
The cleaning up. And do you fire in a kiln or do you fire outside?
I fire in a kiln, which I want to learn how to fire outside. I've never learned how to fire outside. I guess, well, I was too small when my grandma was doing it, so. but I know she put like cans, and she had one of those things that you put on top where she would just put all the pots in, and then, she knew how much wood she needed, and that's what she did. But I really never paid attention to how much wood you would need.
Yeah.
So that's.
Well, do you know anybody who fires outside?
Yes, I do know several people, and I've asked them to help me with firing at least one piece outside. So hopefully we'll get to it this summer or the springtime.
Yeah, and if you're able to bring in the piece after it's done, we would love to see it.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
The recommendation that I have for you, which is the same that lots of people, is to make something very small to practice firing outside, because it takes a lot of effort to be able to do it well.
Yes.
And so make something small and practice. And but that's how all of this stuff is done, is by practice.
Yes.
I mean, you have a beautifully round piece of pottery that's not made on a wheel, and all that does is take a ton of practice.
Because even when my grandma did her firing, there's sometimes that they came out black. So that meant that it wasn't fired fully. It wasn't fully fired. So she cleaned out everything, and she would put them back in and refire them again. So I know when, how they come out when they're not fully fired. So that's how it came out, when she did it, when she fired the pots.
And was your grandma your teacher?
She was my teacher. Just by seeing her, how they did all the pottery. Hers were all handmade too. She used to do a lot of pastel colors. And I know over here, she had a collection here at Andrea Fisher's. She has those.
What was her name?
My grandma's name was Reyes Marie Shendo. I'm not sure if she ever signed her work, because I know back in the day, they didn't really sign their work.
So how many coats of slip is that?
This was the 7th one.
The 7th one, so you're almost ready to polish?
I'm almost ready to polish.
So we get this question a lot, and I know potters have a really, really hard time answering it. If you were to estimate how long that pot took that you have in your hand to dig the clay, to find all the slip that you need, for you to do the sanding, the polishing, the drying, the etching, and the firing, how long would that pot take you to make if you made it start to finish?
Start to finish. Yeah, that is hard because sometimes you get, you're doing other things other than thinking of finishing a pot, So even though if it's dry, it would sit there forever. So sometimes, when you're doing a pot this small, from drying to finishing, maybe maybe 2 weeks on a smaller pot like this. So that should give you an estimate time of the bigger pieces, because they take more time to make and more time to polish. That takes more time to polish, and then working on it, designing it, and taking out, all the extras that's in there that you need to make the design pop.
Yeah. And how many X-Acto blades do you go through?
I go through a lot. With a smaller piece like this, maybe 3.
Okay.
But in the bigger piece, it's like, that's a lot of blades and needles that I go through.
What kind of needles do you use?
I use sewing needles. I break it off and I put it on the end of an X-Acto blade. So that's what I use to do my my designs with. So that I have, I have to break it off on the end and then I'll put it in here to use it.
And when you start your design, do you just start and kind of go from there, or do you plan it out? Do you have an idea in your head what it's going to be?
I just kind of look at the pot, turn it around several times to see, how the design, but the design will already be in my mind, ready to go as I put on the pot. So I'll just turn the pot several times to see, how it would sit, how I would like it to be, the design I have in mind. So that's how I start my designs. But I always use my eyesight and pinpoint to where the middle is. I always start from the middle.
Okay. How did you learn how to do that?
As I was doing my pottery, working on it, that's when I learned how to take my pot and just pinpoint it with eyesight. There's never no stencils that I have used, on a pot. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to see how dry it is. With putting several coats on it, sometimes there's parts that are more still wet than the others. So I'll just start from the bottom on up.
And where do you get your polishing stones?
I bought this one at a natural history museum, and this one was handed down to me. So those are the ones that I would use as I'm doing pots like these, as to where I would use my smaller ones for a wedding vase, for the inside of a wedding vase, and the inside curves and stuff.
And how hard are you pressing right now?
I'm not pressing too hard yet. I have to go over it several times before I start pressing down on it more. So there's several of it on here that I'm just going over it now. This is the first one, and then I'll turn it, and then I'll do the top. So there's several. This is just the first one, which I'm just barely touching the stone to the pot. Because if I press it too hard, then it tends to pick up the slip. And it'll leave like a dent right there. So my second one, I'll kind of turn it and then I'll start. Try to hide where I had left off, and then I'll go there first to middle, to the center of that one, and then I'll start from there. And I while I'm doing this, after how I lick the rock and I kind of get the axis of the polishing off, if it builds up, then it tends to pick up your slip. So I clean my rock as I go along.
Do you watch TV, or what do you do when you polish? Is there something that's on in the background? Do you listen to music?
Music, or if I have a TV going, I usually put it to where I've seen it so many times, where I know what's going on and I just listen to it, like a movie or.
Well, what's your favorite polishing movie?
I usually listen to CSI.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen almost all the episodes like several times to where I know what's going on. So I usually do that, or I'll listen to music.
And how many times do you polish the piece?
This one,
Yep.
This is my third one going around.
Okay. And
So,
how many will you do by the end?
Maybe I'll do maybe 4 or 5.
Okay.
To where when I pick this one up, that's when I know that this one's ready and for me to do it. But I usually see the two that met right here, then I'll start from here. I'll center this and I'll just go start from there again. Then I'm pressing a little bit harder in to where I'm trying to, it's getting smoother. It's getting smoother. Where you don't see or feel these anymore right here.
So you kind of do it by touch?
Yeah, I kind of overlap.
Okay.
The first one, I kind of overlap. And then see, all this is the axis of when I sand it. It's coming out now, but I just clean it off. And then, so this is the third one going around. And you can see by my hand, like how tight I'm holding it now, because I'm pressing on this other one where I'm polishing. Then compared to just barely holding it like this, now I'm really pressing it a little bit harder, and you can start seeing the shine on it now.
So what drew you into making pots?
I think there was a time when I finished high school, I was looking to see, I guess, what to do or how to do things or what I need to do, because even at that time when I finished in high school, it was still hard to get to Albuquerque. You know, there wasn't transportation like there is now. And you had to find ways to get to Albuquerque, even to go to school. So I kind of, my cousin was doing this, so I kind of just watched her for a few days, and I know kind of the process of how to put things together and what I needed. So I just tried it out, you know, just to see where I would get. First, I was just doing regular pottery, traditional like white, and painting it. And then I wasn't really catching the paint, you know, how to paint it or what kind of designs. So I just started doing, working on polishing. My first polishing, I did it with, just to practice, I did it with, I didn't have no rocks. So my first polishing, I did it with a spoon. A silver, you know, silverware.
Yeah, spoon.
A spoon. I used a spoon. It works. And that's how I did. My first polished pot was with a spoon. And from there, I just started drawing my designs.
And do the designs have special meaning to you?
Yes, all of them do. Mostly traditional designs, Kiva designs, eagle feathers for good luck, and directional designs, or the four sides, the four directions. So all of the designs do have different meanings. Some families might have my designs might be described differently than some other potter that does the same design, but her descriptions are different.
Well, of course, it's how your family was raised.
Yes.
So are you back to your grandma's stone?
Yes. This is the first one. First time I'm using it. So this is the fifth one, I think. Fifth time I'm going around. But I always start when I'm gonna do it. I start at where the other one left off, or I kind of center where the two met right here, and it's getting smoother, and the creases are going away.
So do you have another job, or is this your only job?
Right now, this is my only job. It's hard when you're working to do pottery, because I think you tend to, when you get home from work, all you want to do is relax. So that kind of takes away the time from working on your pottery. And it gives me time with my mom right now, because I'm keeping an eye on her, and I can take my pottery to her house and sit with her, and I can do my pottery, and I'm there with her. So right now it works out.
Yeah, it seems like you're very well practiced at being able to talk while work at the same time.
Yes. So this rock helps the inside of here. See, some don't polish in here because it's hard to polish around if your rock is big, but then I have the little stones that I can go in the small spaces, but others don't have rocks like these. So sometimes I'm curious how they do their wedding vases or others.
Well, I was just talking today with Anderson Panezza and Jamie Panezza, who came from Zuni, and they were commenting on how amazing it is that every single person in here has a different process for how to make the clay, to how to polish, for the whole process, and everybody seems to have a really similar result, but the process is so varied and different between people. And they were really amazed at the idea that everybody can continually make these wonderful and great things, but everybody's methods are completely different. So, and I really think that that's like a wonderful take on it, because each and every person is has their own very unique way of making it, and there's no way that's better than another. They're just different.
Yes.
And it's just how you're taught.
And you know how the clay is so different, because when they have their pots, they're so white, and Zuni pots vary from Zia pots to my pots, or any other pot from different pueblos that are their clay is so, unique.
Yeah, and there's no one that's better than another.
Yes.
It's just different.
So now, this is the final one that I'm gonna do. So I'm pressing on it more, and I'm using the larger rock that I have.
So do you have to let it dry after you polish it, or can you go straight to the etching process?
I let it dry a little bit. And you didn't catch what I did, huh,
No.
Derek?
What did I do?
No, you didn't catch what I did.
What did you do?
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Did you see it, Carlo? How about you?
Did you pop a little piece out?
No. Did you catch what I did to make it shine like this?
Oh. Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
So you need a little grease on it.
Yeah, that's
So what I did was I rubbed my face and I rubbed the pot. Yeah. And then that makes it shine more.
That's perfect.
If your face is greasy, go to
Yeah, come to me. I need your face.
Yeah, you smell terrible, but it's amazing the level of shine you've gotten on it already.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
And I'm
Part of you that's in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, there is.
Your DNA is.
My DNA from my face and the fingerprints in here.
Yeah.
I use a little bit of grease to put on here.
Yeah.
To make it shine.
Do you do that at, do you use like just any particular kind, or like do you ever use like a animal?
Just like lard
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Yeah, buffalo and bear.
Buffalo and bear and
Hey,
deer.
you go to the store and can I have a can of bear grease, please?
I killed the buffalo and the bear.
Okay. There you go.
We melt the fat and use it.
Yeah, there you go. Hello. Oh,
I didn't have the grease, so I used my own.
there you go. In a pinch.
See, it's easier to polish it a little bit faster in the summertime than it is in the winter. Because the winter is forever moist,
Right.
So, and then in like now, we have the door open and air coming through.
Right.
So I was able to, but I don't let it dry to where it's completely dry, because that's when you'll see that when I press, it's gonna start scratching the pot. If it gets too dry and you're not done with it, but
Right,
it'll start scratching the pot.
Right.
So
So you want it to be a little bit, yeah. You
Yes.
need to keep it, work fast, basically. Yeah.
see right there?
I see,
See?
yeah.
it's starting to scratch because it's
It's starting to dry
a
out.
little bit more dry than it was. My sister laughs at me when I go like this.
For skin oil?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Polish up.
She laughs
That's
at
a
me.
trade secret.
Yeah, it is.
And if you'd like to ask any questions, feel free
I
to.
gotta watch first.
Yeah, by all means.
Thank you. Are you really for the Dodgers?
Always.
Yay! Good, me too.
Good.
I do have a question. Are your burnishing stones old?
This one is. This
Okay.
is a hand-down stone. I bought this one at the Natural History Museum.
You did?
Yes, a long time ago. I don't know if they still have them because, as you can see, I've used it so much.
Yeah.
It's not so much like a perfect egg anymore.
Yeah.
So I've used this a lot, and all the shine. Where I don't use it is where the shine still
It's shiny?
it is
Oh,
still
that's
shiny.
interesting.
So all the parts that I use, it's not shiny anymore.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, this one's, I bought this one. These are river rocks that I have here.
So is it basalt?
What's the
Oh,
material?
obsidian.
Oh, it's obsidian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's obsidian.
Smooth obsidian.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this
Smooth
is all.
obsidian, because obsidian's,
When you go in the riverbanks,
yeah.
So this is
there's
basalt,
smooth rocks.
Oh,
but they must be very similar.
yeah, maybe they are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we're making a mistake. Maybe we're not using obsidian.
Yeah, maybe. But this one, I think they maybe found it in the river. This one.
Yeah.
So, but it's really nice and it's worn out, you know.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. So I've had this a while now, but okay, this is all done.
Beautiful.
Came out nice.
My timing was perfect.
So when the pot is before I start designing it, it looks like this. The whole pot looks like this. It's all stone polished, every bit of it.
Yeah.
And then when I start designing it, is yeah, they'll come up like that. So these are the pots I have. So it's this one.
That's interesting, because I've been to Obsidian Ridge up in the Jemez, you know, and found some rocks,
Uh-huh.
obsidian, but that's interesting to look in the river for it.
Yeah,
I like that.
If
'Cause-
there's
'cause-
obsidian, and then if it's washed,
in the river.
Yeah,
it'll turn out like a river rock.
yeah.
Yeah, like it's smooth already
I
because
never
of
thought of
the
that.
because of the water going
Yeah.
over it.
Well, you
It'll,
can't take them, because they're only for us.
That's what I heard.
yeah, so this
Give me your
is
address.
so this is a river rock.
May I feel it?
Yes,
Oh, cool.
my brother found that one at
See,
a.
because I think I found a couple,
Yeah,
not in the river, but where
Oh.
I live in Milwaukee.
Uh-huh.
So I think I found a couple of burnishing rocks, so I'm curious about that. Yeah,
see, that's it,
Yeah.
that's obsidian.
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
But when it turns out to be, there's some that it will turn out to that.
Yeah, maybe like
You
this.
know, this
I
was like
desperately want to
chipped
feel,
off
but
a bit.
I just
Right.
Googled obsidian. I want to find out something.
Obsidian is nature's
But I'm not
glass.
having.
Yeah.
Isn't that sweet?
That
So
was.
you use the different ones for different.
Yeah, like for this one, I can use it in here,
Yeah?
or I can use it doing this inside.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it's,
make it hard on
yeah, it's
yourself.
easier to do it inside, like the wedding bases.
Yeah. That looks like a hard place to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I can use it in here too, you know, like in here,
Oh, okay. Oh, look at
like
May I
this.
touch this?
Sure.
I
These
love
are
this. I just
beautiful.
love the feel of it. I want to know how obsidian and
They didn't put your
basalt
name
are
on it.
different.
They didn't put your name.
Oh, no.
What's your name?
Wilma Baca, Tosa?
Wilma. Nice
Yes.
to meet you. My name's Flo.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Okay.
Good. How are you? Good to see you. Yes.
Oh, good to see you. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Might have my name on it.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
So the whole pot looks like this when I'm done. And then I'll sand it. I'll sand the whole pot, smooth it out. I did this one earlier.
Oh, you sand it?
Yeah, I sand it first
Okay.
to smooth out all the creases and stuff. So my handprint. And then while I'm done with this, I'll do the top and the bottom on this like this. I'll scrape it against.
Oh, okay. This is interesting.
I don't have yours.
It says obsidian is a naturally occurring volcanic glass form when lava extruded from a volcano.
Am I gonna what?
Touch some of them? Better wash your hands first.
Yeah, yeah. No, am I gonna touch something? Yeah, no. No. Hasn't the world changed in a weird way? It's so weird. Anyways. Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Yes, Robert.
So this is the temper. I mix the temper with the clay.
I'm not touching anything. The temper.
Yeah, this is volcanic ash.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this away.
See,
and
this is my clay.
oh, okay.
So
Ooh.
to make it work, I have to put a temper in so the pot won't crack.
Okay.
So I use my temper and then the clay. Then I did that earlier.
Something's touching my leg.
So these are clay.
These are all clay,
Yeah.
but this is the temper I use with the clay to mix it together to get to the consistency to where I can work with it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Makes me think it out of the ground.
Yeah. So he has to work.
So when the clay comes out, it's like this in clumps, you know.
Yeah.
So this is how this came out. With
Yep.
this temper, this is volcanic ash. This is really easy to work with because it breaks off really easy, just like this. And then I'll sift it. You can touch it, and then you can sift it, and this is smoother. It just comes out more
Okay.
smoother.
But you can't work with just this.
No,
Yeah.
no, it won't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, this I use as a temper.
Yeah.
So this I use like 3 and 3. You know, I put handfuls, and then I put 3 handfuls of that.
And what is this?
This one's the clay.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Oh,
That's
okay.
the clay. We broke it down
Gotcha.
and we grinded it, so it's easier to work with. Yeah. So this is the slip. This is what I use to polish this
Yeah.
pot.
And then
Yes.
this is how you
Yes.
smooth it off.
Yes. Yes. I use my rocks.
Piece of rocks. Yeah.
That one, I think someone gave that to me. That was,
This looks like it's been polished.
yeah, it was polished, that
Yeah.
one.
And then these, and then this has got something else in it, or is this here?
Yeah, it's that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, oh, that's so cool.
I brought my friend. She's from.
I'm curious about, so this comes from an island in Maine. off the
Oh.
coast, and it's basalt. It's a lot of, Iceland has a lot of this
Oh, really?
kind of rock, but I'm curious because.
I know, they do look alike, huh?
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what that's all about.
Oh, basalt.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this is volcanic, and I think this is volcanic.
Yeah, probably. The way it looks, and you know, this was, I think they got a rock like this and they made it into an egg and polished it.
Yep.
But I went to the Natural History Museum, I found this there. So I bought it right away. So I started using it.
Yeah.
Now it's all worn off.
Oh, it's
and
great.
Yes.
So beautiful. And where did these smaller pieces come from?
These are river rocks. These ones.
Oh, same stone.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what we're thinking. They're the same stone.
Interesting. And these, I have stones like this that's made out of this.
Oh.
So they've got to be cousins. Or
Yeah, maybe
brothers or sisters.
something.
Interesting. Yeah, it looks just the same. So that's so cool.
Yes.
And are these your pieces?
Those are my pieces that.
And this, and what is this? How is this imposed? Oh, okay.
That's this one's the lighter part of it is the clay.
Got you.
And then I have running all the way down. I have kiva steps, the kiva steps here, and then I have the kiva fireplace here.
Oh, cool.
On the other side, it has the kiva fireplace along with the kiva steps here with the mountains. And then this also has the kiva steps with the directional designs. So this one I made so it can hold pens.
Oh, very clever.
Hold pens.
Yeah.
So this is what.
It's better than
Yeah.
toothbrushes, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
it's
so.
Beautiful.
So these are just recent. So
Beautiful. And I assume you have to do these one at a time.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll see you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming.
The husband of Denise, who's over there. Mark.
Yeah, Mark. That's his name. Are there any more questions? Or?
Let me pull up again. Do, 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 do. No other questions yet.
No?
Yeah. When did you come to do the pen holder ones? They kind of remind me of like a bear.
A bear?
A bear paw.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I made this first, and it came out really nice. It's just came from just the idea, I guess, of how to, you know, sit in the office or, you know, stuff like that. And then I just put these holes in there to make it into like a pen holder.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone would use a pen.
Would you like them to use it?
Yes, I would. I think it would be nice.
I think so. They're very beautiful. They're very beautiful. Yeah.
Me to work on one more?
Okay. That polish is so nice. My gosh.
Yeah, it came out really nice.
Is it okay if I?
Sure.
Wow.
It's always good when you say it came out really nice.
It did.
That's beautiful. It's amazing. Just how smooth. Yeah.
As I made the other one, I made a cone earlier. This one, I just started it out to see if I can make like a little curvy, more curvy on the bottom.
Okay.
And how long do they fire for?
It depends how many I'm firing.
Oh, right.
If I'm firing more, some use cones. I think number 17, I believe. They use cones.
Okay.
But when I fire, I don't open the kiln like right away. I let it stay in for a bit, and then I'll just open it a little bit, and then just come get it the next day.
Oh, okay.
But
So let the heat
yes,
slowly.
slowly.
Yeah.
Because I think it tends to bubble if you open it like it tends, the polish tends to bubble if you open it, you know,
Too
right
fat.
away.
Yeah.
So I think it does that.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't open it right away, but
Yeah. What's the largest? How large is the largest piece you ever made?
the largest piece I've ever done is maybe maybe this big, but like this.
Wow.
Like this. That was during the market time when I just first started coming.
Yeah.
And then there's one that I done like almost like a flat, like this, but it came in like this.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see what comes of this year's market. You know, you might see big ones because I haven't done those in a long time.
You brought us a pretty large piece
Yes.
for the show this
Yes.
summer, or last summer. That was, yeah.
Yeah,
But a
that
flat top must be amazing.
Yeah.
So much
Yeah.
space for your design to kind of dance around.
Yes, there was a man, he's an older man that came from California, and he really wanted the piece. He kept bringing his family, so he's the one that bought the piece
That's sweet.
back then. But there were several years that I didn't come to market.
Yeah.
But last year, for the 100th year, I did come. And then hopefully this year.
Yeah.
So,
I hope so too.
yeah. So this year in August.
Yeah.
And I have done open pots like this.
Like bowls.
Yeah, like
Kind of,
bowls,
yeah.
just like this. Or even the flat ones where they just barely curve in.
Yes, yeah.
So I've done some of those
Yeah.
too, but I haven't done them in a long time.
Do you feel like you kind of do certain shapes and then you kind of go back to other
Yes.
ones? And,
Yeah.
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 That's my wisdom in the old age. I would teach down there, but they don't have it running. Oh, she's left.
No,
Oh, you're not.
I'll do it on both. I'll do it on both sides.
Ambidextrous.
See, I can do it on this side too, but I'm a righty.
Well, do you know the name of the ceramic place in Cambridge? They go to Harvard every year.
Yeah.
And do this.
No, I know this.
He said it's by the football stadium.
Edna, Harvard Ceramics.
I think it's Harvard Ceramics.
Harvard Ceramics? It's connected to Harvard?
Yes, it is.
I thought they didn't let people have fun over there.
Maybe it isn't fun.
Too academic. Huh. That's it. Oh, it's a Harvard ceramics studio. That's
Yes.
because there's one on Appleby. Downside, there's a ceramics shop. There's a bread store. You know when you get to Appleton?
I like this little bowl.
Huh?
I like this little bowl.
Yeah, it
That's
is,
really
huh?
sweet.
It's cute.
Yeah, there's another one right in, actually in Watertown.
You have fun doing this.
It's where they have a lot of classes over there.
Yeah.
It's not a ceramic shop, it's a ceramic studios where you can go. There's all kinds of like where you can throw, and do the wheel. There's places that you can do your carving. They have kilns like as tall as this building. That's crazy.
Maybe they need a glass shop.
But they do have large kilns, like life-size kilns.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
It's brand new. I think they probably opened it maybe 2016.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
See, because actually my husband went there and they wouldn't let him, he couldn't major in theater, for example. So he majored in something easier so he could spend all his time in the theater. So I didn't think that Harvard promoted this kind of thing. You know, what I mean, fun, theater, ceramics, painting, sculpture. They treat it like a hobby, you know. But that's interesting to me. I'm going to have to go see it.
Part of the extension school. I don't know.
That's really interesting to learn.
We'll see how that turns out.
It looks nice. It has a nice energy.
Yeah, and then the depth is just right.
Yeah, that's a beauty. Mm. Wow. Also clay.
Sorry?
Also clay. Everything is clay.
Different kind of clay or just a...
Different firing method, also a different clay, dug at a different location.
Okay. Yeah, I figured it wasn't.
So it's black iron oxide for the slip and not red.
No, it's a result of the way that it's fired. It's a reduction
Yeah.
of the oxygen in the firing, which renders the
I think they use the same kind of slip.
They do.
And yeah, it's the firing method that's different.
Reduction, I know about that.
Yeah.
Reduction oxidation.
So that's how those are done.
So your work, Wilma, could be
Yeah.
black if you fired it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you fed your cows something different.
Something black.
Yeah, black beans, right.
Black beans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Do you ever get, when you think back to the first pieces you were making, those little canoes and ornos and stuff, like, do you ever feel drawn to making like little figures or anything like that? Or not so much? It
Not
doesn't
so
really speak
much.
to you, yeah.
Because I feel that like I'm not creative in painting, painting a pot. I mean, maybe I can, but my hand, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
it's just different.
Yeah.
It just feels different to me when I would paint.
Right.
But then to do figurines, there's other things that go in that too, which I don't know,
Right.
how I would put them. Like people that do storytellers. you know, they have their own way of doing
building.
things.
Yeah.
Not every one of them is the same because each one has a different method
Totally.
of how to put their stuff together, you know. So I wouldn't know where to start.
Fair. Fair enough.
You have to go spend a weekend at Cochiti.
Cochiti. I don't know nobody at Cochiti that does pottery. It's drying up. It's drying up.
It's drying out.
Drying out. Казановики.
Wow. So will you bring this little polished one back to us?
Which one?
This little, once it's been carved up.
This one
Yeah.
or this?
Or
this?
any of them. But,
Oh yeah, I'll bring them back when
okay,
I'm done.
We'll have to follow up.
Yeah.
We'll share some pictures of them when,
Okay.
when they're all done. and
Okay, yeah,
people
that would be
can look
great.
at- Yeah.
This is methods again.
Yes.
What's it? Say? Wonderful. Well, tremendous. Well, thank you, Wilma. It's been wonderful watching you work. And,
Yes.
thank you for your generous explanations and yeah.
Is there anything else?
No,
Or-
no other questions online. I guess maybe we can put out a last request. If anyone has anything they want to ask Wilma, this will be the last opportunity to do so until the next time. All right. Well,
Oh, ano malanda. Let me just
Oh.
go over this book.
perfect.
I had a book made, maybe like this was in 2009. The professor, he's a professor at Harvard. So I go to Harvard to have classes with the students there that are in no, they do. It's like I guess all of them have to take it before they graduate this class. Yeah, it's not. It's not archaeology, but anthropology. Maybe it is.
To study different cultures?
Yes.
Okay.
So they do that, and when they're at like shards, like pottery, that's when
That's awesome.
they bring me in to do that. So he made this book for me, but he has the slides, or he has them on the computer now, but to show his students all the things that I do and how I make my pottery. So before I go to do all this stuff over there to show them from start to finish, he shows all the stuff where I get my clay, where we get my temper, the slip, and then I do everything like this, but it's on this book.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so here's where I'm making a pinch pot, and so this is the start of it. It's like one of these, smaller part of it. So it goes through everything. I didn't have a gourd then, but I have gourds now. But here are my rocks.
Okay.
They're, I've used them for a long time. Yeah. So I go through the sanding of it, the same thing we did here. It'll be nice if we could do more of these, so when I sell my pots, you know, they could come with a book. So the slip, it comes like this. It comes in a rock form, but it's clay. Yeah, it's like red paint. So I just did all this here and polished the little one. So I have this book that, and then, so the whole pot, when I'm doing this before I polish, it looks like this. It's red. So from here, I stone polish it, and that's what I showed earlier. And even here inside, I'm using that same rock, and then all my tools I have here.
Exacto.
Yeah, Exacto blades, and this is a sewing needle I break at the end, and then I put the sharp one here. So that's what I use to start designing my designs. So that's what I have here. So when I do my designs, the whole pot looks like this before it looks like the finished pot, because all of these have to be taken out. And so that's his job. See?
Oh, very good.
There's my husband.
Good job.
So when I start etching out all the lines, I use this to do all the straight edging, we call it, so the designs can pop.
Yeah.
They're not rough, they're all smooth now, so all the designs can show. And then, so here's the daisy design, and he's done some of the daisies right here, taken out the stuff, so the pot will show. All the designs will pop out. So
Someone was asking where they can get a copy of the book.
we haven't gotten copies made yet.
Ask Harvard.
But I haven't but seriously, we do need to do books like this, because some of the bigger pieces that I've sold, they want books like this, because we take this everywhere we go.
Oh, yeah.
So that's easier to show, you know, like if you're not doing a demonstration, you can see it on the book what we all did. So we take this book everywhere, and we show them how you know, the whole pot is made.
Maybe
So.
Andrea will make you a book.
I think the guy that did the book, he has the he has the format, and he has the pictures. So I need for him to send them back to me so we can make
No, he
books
just
like
needs to
this.
make the books for you.
Yes.
His name?
His Matthew Liebman. He's a professor over there at Liebman, Liebmann, I think.
They want a
Liebman.
good place to go eat. They don't know where to go eat. He's from there.
Harvard Square. At Harvard Square.
I've not eaten at Harvard Square since before the pandemic.
Oh, really? That's what they say. Harvard Square.
Actually,
The thing is, I grew up there, and I always thought Parka was a Parker.
Baca?
Until later, I learned it's really a parka.
tell me your name.
Wilma, W-I-L.
M.A.?
M-A, and Baca, B-A-C-A, Tosa, T-O-S-A.
Well, it's not about a cup.
Okay.
So I'll remember it.
Yes.
This is great.
Wilma, when you make bigger pieces, do you do coils?
That's a coil pot. Yeah, the bigger, larger pieces and the wedding vase, they're all coil pots. And then the smaller one is a pinch pot. So I can go from, if I do a pinch pot, halfway up to here,
And then you coil.
then I can coil on top. Yeah, like this one, I did halfways, and then I coiled the rest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this one,
Because otherwise it would sort of fall apart.
um,
You don't really get this.
well, I think it's easier to work with building it
Yep.
as far as I want to go.
Yeah.
Because if I start, the larger pieces, like earlier, I kind of start like this, on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I'll coil it right away,
Yeah.
the larger pieces.
Yeah.
But on smaller pieces like this, I can pinch and then coil the top part of it. So this is both, but that's a coil pot, coil, and that's a pinch pot.
And maybe you said this before, but did you learn from your grandmother?
Yeah, my grandma.
Your grandma.
Yeah, but then
I'm like, at least you have a job, I found out.
and then my mom, she taught me how to do wedding vases.
Oh, okay.
But my grandmother, she used to do large wedding vases like this, this big, and she would put are those frogs on the sides?
But what?
Frogs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know the part of it where she puts frogs and why, but she put it on wedding vases on each side of it.
Down here?
Yes, and on the other side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I never learned why she put frogs, but I seen the pots, but I never saw the frogs.
I know why. Because when you get married, it's a leap of faith.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, well done, well done. All right, don't let me lose this cup.
No, fold it up and put it in your bag.
It's important information.
I'm sorry we got here so late. We got here.
I'm going to call Matthew and I'm going to say, okay, when are you inviting her to come again? Because I'm going to pretend I work at Harvard or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm curious how it's done though, because it must be connected with an academic subject, because they would never let you, they don't have an art department.
Well, maybe it's part of the anthropology department.
Yeah,
or
that would
something,
make
yeah.
sense.
That's interesting, okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Wilma.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
His office, just right on top of
The museum.
Peabody.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's connected to the Peabody. His office is connected to the Peabody Museum.
Oh, no, this is at Harvard.
Harvard, yeah.
Yeah, not in Agassiz. Yeah, Agassiz.
All right. Thank you so much again. All right, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll catch you at the next one.
Yes, thank you. Thank you,
right.
everyone.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
That's crazy. But I can't even recommend anything because I haven't been there in so long.
Want a pizza?
No.